Wunstorf this weekend, there was a crowd of 48,000 packed in on a baking hot day. Temperature about 30 degrees centigrade and just over 40 degrees on the track surface. The usual double header program, a sprint of 8 laps and then the feature race of 20 laps. Aiello leading the championship, 336 points, and he was quickest in qualifying.
It was not so easy because this morning the car was not too good. I was complaining with an understeering problem and also with a braking problem, so we changed the diff. So I think that was the point. I think that was the problem we had this morning.
Second on the grid is Peugeot teammate George Van Ormen, now fourth in the championship.
I feel more confident in the car, of course, because I learned the car more to use now. And now it's the half of the season and I'm now there where I wanted to be. And so I hope that the rest of the season will become good.
Uwe Alsen, the Opel, third on the grid. Joe Winkelhock, fourth. Kurt Tim in another Opel, seventh behind the two Hondas. Some encouragement there for Opel at last.
We lost 3 cars and it was a very hard work for our mechanics to rebuild the cars. And now we are very happy to stay here with the 3rd place as our best result in the practice in this year. And I'm very, very happy about this.
So the circuit, 3.1 mile round, 5.05 kilometers. In qualifying, only Aiello broke 1:45, but only Aiello, Van Ormen and Olsen inside 1:46. This man, Marco Werner, got up to 5th on the grid, but he's very wary of the course because of the airport lights that are in the grass, and it's very easy to hit them if you go offline. In that respect, he says it's like a street race without walls. But the temporary nature of the circuit means problems for the organisers. Everything has to be brought in.
Guten Morgen, Herr Leiter der Streckensicherung.
This is race direction. And the chief man says there's nothing here usually except the track surface, so they have to build everything in a couple of days. But they still have to keep to the safety standards like permanent circuits.
Hat man genau 3 Tage Zeit aufzubauen, ja, muss 2 Tage später wieder abgebaut haben und es muss eigentlich den Sicherheitsbestimmungen so wie auf einer permanenten Rennstrecke auch entsprechen.
And he's also got a bit of a philosophy too. Shepherding all his regular troops around.
Mehr Leute, mehr Fehler, und
but he doesn't bring in extra people because more people means more mistakes, so they do all the work with the usual team.
Auszumerzen oder es gar nicht machen zu lassen.
And a pretty good job they do as well. So all ready for the sprint race, 8 laps, Peugeots 1 and 2 on the grid. Winkelhock looking to improve immediately from 4th place, but can he find a way through? Away they go, Winkelhock trying first down the inside and then down the outside, and makes it through. Van Ormen a very poor start, Aiello into the lead, Winkelhock up into 2nd place. Johnny Cecotto trying to work his way through. All 4 Audis there running together. And a whole conglomeration of cars caught out, and it looks like Emanuele Pirro, the number 1, in a big spin. Ivan Müller is the Audi coming down towards the chicane, trailing smoke. So 2 of the works Audis immediately in big trouble. Van Ormen has gone backwards, started 2nd, and now look at him trying to find a way through past a whole clutch of cars, and he's got to do it the long way around. Still problems for Müller, he's not going to last long. Audi's day hasn't exactly started with a flourish. Cecotto and Menzel, 2 BMWs, but from different outfits running together, and Van Ormen there in the Peugeot, now on the tail of the 2 BMWs. BMW seem to have the power to keep the Peugeot back. But it's Menzel going wide there. Now can Van Ommen just work his way through? Aiello is first into the chicane, followed by Winkelhock, Altzen. Hager is up there. So too is Kurt Tim. A couple of cars running wide. We've already been told that we've got to beware of that, because otherwise they're going to clip those airport lights. And that's Hager with Tim coming down the inside. And he drops back a place, and Hager is up into fourth. Tim fighting back. So a little bit of turn and turnabout. Winkelhock doing well, suggests that his car is underpowered, but it seems to be hanging on. Here's Müller, suggested that he wouldn't last long after that early tangle with his teammate Pirot. Aiello and Winkelhock starting to break away from the others. Now this is what happened in the early stage. That's Pirot, defending champion, number one, and in trouble. He's only been on the podium once this season, and I don't think he's going to make it this time. A real tangle, and the Audis very much involved. They were all running side by side at one stage as they got away. Tim leading this group through now. Behind him is Werner and Hager in the two Hondas, and Van Ommen now up on onto the tail of Menzel. Back comes the other BMW of Cecotto. So we've got the two Hondas running there, Werner and Hager, then Menzel ahead of Cecotto, and then Van Ommen, who really must be cursing that poor start that he made. Van Ommen keeping this lively, actually. Menzel and Hager. Hager getting a helping hand from Menzel. And right alongside the Honda, Cecotto watching this with interest, because he just might be able to capitalise, and so too could Van Ommen if they take the pair of them off. Hager coming back for another go at Menzel, but he just shifted across, saw him coming. Now in car with Van Ommen. He's up past Cecotto. Menzel running wide. Now has come Van Ommen as Cecotto goes through. No, it's Menzel just moving across. Yes, he's got him. Well done, Van Ommen. Well, he had to go wider and wider to squeeze his way through, and in the end Menzel just gave up the job, because there was no way that he was going to push him all the way over. Hager, Cecotto, Van Ommen, and this is looking back from Niedzwitsch. Privateer Audi. Bartels is the Opel, coming hard up onto his tail. It's a nice variety of lines being chosen by the various drivers into and out of that corner. Aiello still leads. In fact, has increased his lead over Winkelhock. Altzen is still running in third. Then comes Tim. Werner in the Honda. Cecotto, Van Ommen and Menzel. First glimpse of the Alphas. This is Modena. leading the way and trying to squeeze past Massen and Christian Abt in the privateer Audi. There's Abt and Modena. So it's basically been a sprint race sprinkled with little skirmishes all the way up and down the field. 22 going through there, Sascha Massen, and not exactly completing the job. Massen with a spin. I assume that something's broken on the car. Nobody appeared to touch him. Van Orman goes past Cecotto. Hager comes up on Cecotto. Winkelhock was right. BMWs are definitely down on power. Cecotto trying to squeeze him. Could be a clash of mirrors here. Just manages to hold him off. Menzel sees his chance and goes through past the Honda as well. Now let's have a look what did happen to Massen. Straightforward, lost it, I think. Certainly couldn't see anybody that tapped him. Sent him into that spin. Disaster for him. So Aiello from Winkelhock, Uwe Autsen, Tim and Werner. And Van Orman has done a great job, much to the delight of the crowd, to get back on terms and into the top 6. Hager is Werner's teammate in the Honda. Massen in the Nissan decides after the spin he'll pop into the pits and see exactly what went wrong. Hager, Menzel and Reuter. Steaming into that, the tightest of the corners on the racetrack. And then the whole thing broadens out to such an extent that you think that surely somebody can get darting up the inside, really put the power on and accelerate away, but it never seems to happen. Menzel is in there behind the Honda, looking for the chance to move out. But probably be better taking the tighter line. Now we've got Hager and Menzel once more. Now can he hold him off at the chicane? I think he can, he's done it. And somebody else trails through, taking the shortcut. Stays well wide out of contention. I think it's the Nissan anyway, so it's already well back. So Menzel's got past the Honda. Reuter is interested in doing pretty much the same thing. And out in front, Aiello is just skating away with it from Winkelhock. Reuter and Roland Asch, the other Honda driver. The other Nissan driver, correction. So it's all settled down. It may be only a sprint race of 8 laps, but these races tend to do that. They just fall into a pattern after the opening skirmishes, and it all seems to go dull for a while. At the moment, Aiello has got an unassailable lead. Winkelhock certainly isn't going to get on terms with him. And Van Orman in the other Peugeot is desperately trying to work his way through the field. But it's Aiello leading at Wunstorf. Back at Wunstorf, Van Orman has worked his way up to 6th, having dropped down as low as 10th earlier in the race after starting from 2nd place. Really been an up and downer for him. Now, apart from his teammate who's out in front with a clear track in front of him, Van Orman is the fastest man on the circuit. But it's vital that he gets as far up as he possibly can, because of course the way they finish in this sprint race is the way they start the main race. So he would like to be at least on the second row if he can make it. That's Sascha Maassen, and the end for him. We saw him have that spin, then he came into the pits, then he missed out the chicane, so he's had a pretty rotten day so far. Menzel in the BMW is in 8th place. Hager, Reuter and Ash are the men following him. Ash running 11th. Menzel is Johnny Cicotto, who we really would expect to be up there alongside his teammate somewhere, trying to push Aiello into a mistake, but it's just not worked out that way. BMW will be studying these lap times, trying hard to work out exactly where they can pick up some time and put in a significant challenge to Aiello. But they haven't managed it so far this weekend. Get the impression that if Van Ommen hadn't made that terrible start, then he'd have gone away with his teammate Aiello as well. Small mercy for BMW. So they reel off another one. Van Ommen loses out. Hager coming through. Won't like that at all. Dimis 4th. The Honda 5th, Van Ommen 6th. Nissen is the man retiring in the Abt Audi. Couldn't coax that round any further. George Van Ommen. It's 34 now. Seen a fair amount of service in various racing cars over the years. Drove a Merc in the ITC last year and actually pulled off a win. He's taken a wee bit of time to get used to this Peugeot. Here comes Aiello. Now this is the man who's starting to dominate here. Checkered flag is ready for him, so he's picked up his first maximum. That's 30 points in the bag, and he'll definitely extend his lead over Winkelhock, who's there second. So BMW certainly have something to think about.
Well, I think what we worked was to try reliability and to have advantage we always had. Good in braking, turning in, acceleration out of the corner. If we lose a little bit on the straight, doesn't matter. We'll do better. I hope that but the distance, our tires will be better than the opposition. So we are very motivated. Joe is doing very good. Let's hope for the second race to be on one place in front.
Aiello's 5th win in 11 races. Winkelhock 4.08 seconds back. It's a long way in an 8-lap race. Alson's best finish of the year. Tim's best finish of the year by far. Werner the top Honda. Van Ommen up from 10th to 6th eventually, and probably could have made 5 if he'd have really pushed it. But Peugeot, it appears, have tyres in hand. A great day for Aiello.
Well, the car was not too good, but I think the other also had a little bit of problems in comparison with this morning. I was a little bit more on the steering, but now it's a lot hotter than this morning, so I would like to make something between the two races, because I had a little understeering problem, and I don't like that.
Winkelhock second, although throughout this meeting he's complained that the BMW has been down on power.
The result was much better than we expected, and so I must say I'm very happy about the second in the sprint race. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we have a chance in the main race, which is 100 kilometer, and because for our car it's a little bit easier, the tire consumption. And so we see.
10 tyres allowed for each car for qualifying and for the two races. And Aiello and Peugeot have done a very good job to save theirs. Over at Audi, it's Ivan Müller, who's not only driving and racing, he's also testing the new two-wheel drive Audi.
For the moment, you have still a lot of work. That's why I do all the tests, I do all the race, so it's a big job, but it's my job. But then we learn, because Audi has not a lot of experience, me too, with the front-wheel drive, and we know well the four-wheel drive, so we need to work, and we prepare the future with this car.
Testing's important, but winning's what matters.
For me, I think it's important to win, of course, but what I like in racing is to work and to progress with the car. So for me, it's a challenge to arrive with a new car and to progress, and then maybe on the end of the year, or maybe for next year, to win with the car. That is a victory for me too, if we can do that.
Beltson, after his third place, in danger of bursting into flames. Don't want to use the fire extinguisher on it. Honda, a satisfactory fifth. Marco Werner.
Ja, ich denke mal so im Mid-Corner-Bereich und im Ausgang.
He's saying that he could actually be faster, that he's actually losing time going into the corners and in the middle of those long corner sections. So, race director